long introduction. My mom would be well pleased with that. So I want to thank you for coming in today. You know, all across the country right now, and this is my opinion, but what you're seeing is you're finally seeing people starting to wake up and realize that they've got to get involved in their government. Government requires people to be involved and hold their elected peoples accountable. And what you're starting to see is people becoming deeply concerned about the direction that their country's going. You know, they're starting to look at their future, their children, their grandchildren, and starting to realize that we're going to pass on to them right now a country that is not as good a shape as what we found, but a country that's deeper and deeper in debt. And I think that we're finally beginning the process of waking us up. I want to start with just a little bit of my background. Began the process of running for state representative. And I tell you what, and I kind of relate to this now because I was not the pick of the party. The party had already picked a businessman in West Plains to run. Everybody in West Plains was for him, and the only way I was going to win, I had no money. The only way I won was went door to door across the county, down every dirt road. Wow. I spent 6 months, you know, knocking on doors, and we ended up was outspent $50,000 to around $4,000, and won by about 16% of the vote in the primary. Wow! So it can be done by just hard work and getting out and talking to grassroots people, right? You know, and talking with them and telling them, you know the direction. And just basically, I think people today are looking for two things. They're looking for leadership, and someone just telling the truth about what's going on. Like many of you all, we were told that, boy, if we ever got the presidency, the House, and Senate, we can set a conservative agenda for America. So we went out and worked hard. You know, I helped candidates, and in 2000, we got the majority in the presidency, the House, and the Senate. And you sit there and think, boy, we can set a conservative agenda for America. We can finally start looking back on individuals as the person that you need to work on, individual freedoms, where you can go out and pursue happiness on your own and not have a big government telling you what to do all the time. What happened? You know, and I brought a PowerPoint. This PowerPoint has been all over the state of Missouri. It's starting to get a little rough, but with my income for my campaign, this is about all we can afford, but it serves the purpose. In 2001, 2002, we got that presidency, House, and Senate. The House had 221 members. The Senate was 50-50. Awful close here. You know, you can't get any much closer than that. But the deficit that year was $30 billion. And in my party, I'm a Republican because I believe in the principles of the party. I'm not necessarily proud of the way those principles have been reflected on the last few years, but the number one platform in the Republican Party is a balanced budget. So if you elect a majority to the House and the Senate and the presidency, you would expect one thing from that party if they are really who they say they are. Right. They would have a balanced budget. That's right. Well, $30 billion deficit is not bad there because if you remember 9/11 happened. So you had an immediate downturn in the economy, and you still had your expenses for that year. I can live with that. You know, that was a time when turmoil in the markets and revenue, $30 billion. But you know what you didn't expect is when things began to turn around and we added numbers, Republicans 229 to 205, took the Senate 51-48. The deficit that year was $792 billion. It grew. And if you talk about what Keith said, you know, Keith, I have to tell you, I carry these little things around and read them every once in a while. Another thing is we began showing No Child Left Behind. And if you think about No Child Left Behind and read Article 1, Section 8 of the Constitution, you know, the states and locals are in charge of education, not the federal government. So a lot of people that I felt was in my own party did things that were not constitutional and things that I did not expect them to do. The deficit continued to grow. The next year was the Republican high mark. 232 in the House, 55-44 in the Senate. Wow. Now when it's 60-40 the other way around, you realize how big of a number that is. Deficit's $566 billion. Wow. And then we all know what happened next. You know, we got got kicked out of office. I don't think it's because of what the Democrats did. I think it was what the Republicans didn't do.
Right.
They didn't rely on their principles and actually do what they were supposed to do. And, you know, we're back, and now we're at 60-40 of the Democrats in the Senate, and we're fighting out fires that should never have been there in the first place.
That's right.
So you know, what you start thinking about is it the fault of the people we've elected, or is it our fault for keeping electing people that don't follow our principles of our party?
Really?
When your first plank of your platform is a balanced budget, you know, and you have people in office that don't follow that, you know, it's up to us to hold them accountable. And you know, I'm a positive type person. I've always run positive campaigns, but one of the people that I decided to run was in leadership at a time when this happened. You know, the definition of insanity is doing the same thing over and over again, expecting different results. You know, if you keep sending the same people there, you're going to get the same results. You know, we've got to begin the process. You know, I've been honored in 14 years of state budget. We balance our budget every year. Now, it's an easy thing to say because we're constitutionally required, but it can be done. It can be done by balancing budget. You have to have government simply live within its means. The second thing that in the Republican platform is no earmarks. Now, think about, you know, it's in our platform that our candidates will not support earmarks, that our party does not support earmarks. When you think about earmarks, the people that use the earmark process say what great things they're doing for our area, you know, and the things about it. I want to tell you something. That what's happening right now is that the Congress has to raise the debt ceiling from $11.8 billion to $13 trillion, $11.8 trillion to $13 trillion to continue to just keep borrowing money to keep the government going. We're borrowing $20 billion a week just to keep the lights on. If you start figuring out that's $100 billion every 5 weeks has to be borrowed just to keep the government running at its pace. You know, you've heard the deal about drunken sailors. They spend like drunken sailors. Even drunken sailors quit when they run out of money. That's why I'm running for this office. You know, I believe in the platform, and I also think that the Republican Party is probably at a crossroads. That if we don't start standing for things, you're going to have a portion of the party move away, and you're going to become a permanent minority party. Because there's a lot of people out there that believe in the things that Keith talks about, the sovereignty project, and we're going to go somewhere else. You know, I'm still holding out hope and trying to do the best job I can. But if this party continues the direction, there's a lot of people like me that's going to go somewhere else.
Right.
Some of the differences in my Congressman Blunt that I disagreed with some of the motivating things is another thing is the TARP agreement. You know, the troubled assets. You know, we are a free market system. When you allow government to begin picking winners and losers in the free market system, that whoever's got the biggest lobbyist is going to get the biggest chunk of change. You know, there was no doubt there was going to be pain. There was no doubt that there was going to be a crisis that we would probably all feel. The question was who was going to pay for it. And it went from Wall Street to Main Street. You know, the people that caused it got bailed out, but it went back to us taxpayers to have to pay for it. So there was no doubt there was going to be pain. But, you know, when I was 10, 11 years old, I had a bicycle. I grew up on a dirt road, still live on a dirt road. If I drove that bicycle down a dirt road, I hit a little sharp rock and lost the air, had a flat, I can do two things. I can continue to keep putting air into it and eventually fix the flat someday, or I can sit down and fix the flat and take care of the problem. But we as a country have got to face our problems instead of postponing them and printing them into the next generation. We've got to face facts that this country has to get back on its road financially. You know, a country that is not strong financially is a country that's not going to be basically strong and fundamentally strong.